The amplifier is in place. All the power wire is going to come up this side of the car. Here is the main power and the base knob wire in the center console. The ground and the sub wire come along this way. I've loosened this up so that I could pull the carpet back, and that'll give me access to this point here, which is the factory ground. And then you can get in here, zip tie all your wires in place. This is the sub wire, which I'll run to the back here. And then the last step here at the amplifier is tapping into those wires, and that is what these guys are for. To connect in at our amplifier, we're gonna do the poke and twist method. That involves stripping back the wire, in this case the remote turn-on wire. Take a pick tool and separate them to make a hole just like a needle. This is more or less threading a needle. Strip back, I like to do about a 1/2 inch, depends on how thick my wire is though. Thread it through the hole, pull it tight, and then wrap your wire around, smashing the hole closed. At this point, you could put some tape on it and consider it done. It's a 1/2 inch wrapped around. It's not gonna come loose. We could put a zip tie on there and hold that super tight. However, I like to add a little bit of solder to it just to glue it all together. Be careful if you decide to do this. You don't want the heat to transfer through the wire and do damage someplace else. So make sure your soldering gun is nice and hot before you get the ball of solder on there. Make sure your solder ball sucks in nice and tight. Add in a piece of electrical tape. If you would like to add some Tessa tape afterwards to seal this back up, by all means do that. And we'll do the same thing for our speaker wires. Zip tie the wires all up into place, making a nice bundle. And that finishes us up here at the amplifier. We don't want to put the cover back on it yet because we still need to get to these buttons so that we can set up the amplifier. Sometimes when you're working on a car and you forget, oh my gosh, I'm recording this. And in this case, I totally got caught up in running this subwire, and I went ahead and got the subwoofer installed without showing it to you guys. It is a Rockford P3 shallow factory box with the grill. You do have to remove all of this to get to it so that you can get behind it, but it fits in here perfect. Seat goes back in and it puts out good bass. Let's see where the grill is and the basket. The subwoofer box comes over to here, and the same on the other side. If you have one of these cars and you manage to get that back seat out, the one thing you'll notice is there's this giant piece of rubber hanging over that. That does need to get cut. We just cut the area where the subwoofer box is, this right here, and then we can give this back to the customer so that if he pulls that subwoofer box out, a little bit of duct tape, we can put this all back in place and not worry about it for the next owner. If you're going to be doing a full box all the way across the back, then I do strongly recommend doing sound treatment back there, because that mat does need to come off and it can add a little bit of noise to the car. Keep in mind there's still 6 inches of foam from the seat, so it's not the worst thing. With the sub being in, we need a sub knob. Fernando came up with a great place to mount it here in the center console, next to where the gear shifter is, which makes it really nice for us. We ran the control wire here next to it. To get it in there though, there is a little bit of trimming you have to do in this section to get that to sit flush in there, but there's no panel clips or anything like that that get removed. And let's see what it looks like in place. There it is. Some of you guys have asked in the past, what is the deal? This is a children's sock that we buy along with this, which is a steering wheel cover, and we use these on our installation. Underneath this is a piece of leather or some shiny plastic, possibly wood, and we don't want to scratch those. The easiest, simplest, affordable cover is 2 children's socks. There's one inside of the other. Slip them over this and that'll keep it from getting damaged. Fortunately for us, he already has these nice seat covers, so we don't have to worry about that. The last step of this installation before we get to actually tuning it is the fuse holder, which Fernando is working on now. So let's join him and take a look. What Fernando has come up with for the fuse holder is our standard battery mount. We bend a piece of 1/4" ABS. We add our second bolt here. This bolt will come off, the whole panel will remove. The fuse holder disconnects from this mount, connects to the battery, very short run. We can turn it on and start the setup process for the amplifier. There are some test tracks you need to download from Kicker's website, so make sure you do that. I like to put them on my phone through Dropbox, but you can easily burn them to a thumb drive or whatever you like and put them in the USB. To tune this amplifier, there's two setups we have to do. First is the gain match track, and then the key algorithm. With the tracks that you've downloaded, decide whether you want to do -5, -10. You're gonna push this button here for 3 seconds. Make sure your gain is turned all the way down. And you're gonna keep an eye on this light right here. It's a sweep track, so it'll go whoop, which you'll hear. And you wanna make sure the light is completely off through the whole track. All right, I'm blinking, go. Press the button to exit out, and that is the first step. As you heard the sweep track go up and down, kept an eye on this light, made sure it was out through the whole setup process. Next step is the algorithm. For this, we want to hold this button for more than 5 seconds. The LED will come on solid. Once it does that, play the corresponding track. So if you did 10 dB or 5 dB here, make sure you do 10 dB or 5 dB on this track as well. This is going to take a couple minutes to do. Just chill out, relax, and enjoy the view.
This is ready.
Go. Once the sound is over, it is not over. Be patient. It still takes the full 1.5 minutes. After the light goes out, wait an additional couple seconds until this light flashes rapidly for a second or two. Once it has done that, you know you're safe and ready to go. I like to unplug the bass knob during this. Now I can plug it back in and we can get on to testing, setting our crossovers, as well as our bass boost. Peak noise, we're gonna take a look at what it looks like before the key addressed it and then after key done to it. It doesn't look that bad. It's actually pretty nice. But as you can see, there is a little bit of roll off here on this side. Turning the key on, it brings that all back. There's no bass boost applied to this. There's no loudness, there's no anything. This is just what the key is restoring from that signal. We can still go in and give it bass boost and all those other things. Obviously, we want to apply a crossover to it. It doesn't have one now. As you can see, having that key technology is pretty nice. Some of you might be thinking, well, it's only a 500 watt amp. Well, that's fine. You don't necessarily have to use this particular 500 watt amp to do it. The key lock, which is our high level to low level adapter, has the same functionality built into it and will do the same thing for your low pass. The trade-off is it'll also do it for the high pass. So depending on what you're trying to do, there's a key for you. Go bass. Alright guys, there you go. That's putting a sub into a Toyota Tundra. Hope this video was helpful. Keep in mind guys, you can use this process for almost any installation you're doing. That's it, Fernando.
On to the next one, guys.
You guys have a great night as always. We'll see you later next time.
Bye.
Bye.